show you this stuff till we get done. There we go. There's a picture of a torch and the thing. There's this page where they have to both get downstairs, and Human Torch goes out the window, and the thing has to go down the elevator. This page not really using. There's a great fight between Sandman and Living Laser, where Sandman absorbs all the lasers and shoots it back out. Living Laser stops them, and then Hercules gets ready to fight Juggernaut. This is a nice page of Galactus drew a while ago. Superheroes, and then Galactus' ship with Nova going to see Galactus. There he is with his big head. And some more drama with Galactus. And there's Franklin and Reed Richards, and the Thing talks the dark side because he's not really fighting them yet. Here's a nice one from Avengers comic where Juggernaut's been knocked down. He says, "Okay, I give up," and then they have to go enter the mansion. And what happened is the bad guys got into the Avengers mansion. They're finding out all the heroes. So the heroes are there. And this is when, in another scene, Wolverine is going to destroy a thing. This is the scene with the Global Guardians. You've got Little Mermaid, the one from DC, and you've got the Wild Huntsman and Bushmaster, the good guy, and that's the Wild Huntsman. And they're gonna go to the fight. And this one is Spider-Man teamed up with Thor and the Warriors 3, and that's Thor. And here's Spider-Man and Fendral, and he's telling him what to do. They're all going to the big meeting. Deathstroke was talking to Nightwing about how he almost got recruited by Nova to be the bad guys, but he's not going to be on the bad guys. Trying to show you stuff here. That's just a blank page. This is Odin. There's his two ravens, and he's on Asgard, and he's sitting in his throne, and Thor is coming for his blessing because there's a lot of bad things happening on Earth, and so Odin gives him his blessing. And he's going to get him some new armor. Hi, everybody. We're just looking at art right now. Some blank pages. It's for long. Okay, this is a nice scene. That's a couple of different things in Avengers comic with Reed is talking to John Jameson and Bill Foster. They're trying to figure out where all the heroes have gone. And so he says, don't just look in the other, like the horror, look on the other Earth, look in other dimensions. They're like, oh, okay. So the heroes are very far away. And here's Rocket Red and Iron Man have teamed up. So they're flying. Then it's a tense scene on Titan's Tower as they have to come into the fight. They got every Titan that was available here. So there's, from the 90s, there's Phantasm and Panther and Aqualad, Speedy, and Troya, and Starfire, and Beast Boy, and Wildebeest, and Cyborg. And they're talking, and then suddenly Deathstroke comes in, and they're like, all right, what's he doing here? Says Beast Boy, and he says, because I gotta fight, watch your mouth. And so Nightwing explains that he's helping him. And he does. He does something very heroic. So this is another scene where Juggernaut got thrown through a window by Hercules with his massive strength. And so he says, I'm going to give it a rest. And so then he gets ready to fight Living to Mantis. In a different comic, Calabac has taken charge of some of the Techno Chiefs. And they've taken, I've been drawing a lot of this one lately, taken Tom Dresser captive and he's in jail. And so Calabac's going to wake him up. And so he says, what's your mission here? Because he's trying to intimidate him. And so what Nemesis says, her mother, which is a really bad thing to say to Calabac. And so it doesn't get out of it very well. this is a good scene at the end of another comic where Sid shows up to fly Crossbones and Rob Goblin away because they lost and they're gonna get away, go back to the Red Skull, and so they get away in the helicopter. But that one the guys won. This one is in that same Suicide Squad story I was doing, where they've been tracking down Nemesis, and so they caught him. And this guy, hi. Oh, yeah. This is Alex. I'm drawing. This is Calabac the Phosphorus, and that's Scalp Hunter from the Marvel Comics. And they've got Nemesis, and they're figuring out what to do with him. And Shrapnel says he recognizes him, and they could capture him. And so Shrapnel he's a really interesting character because he's all metal pieces formed together. So we're going to show him doing that. And so they figure out what they're going to do with Nemesis. They're going to take him to jail. And they've got part of Kurak into their hold, so they're going to take him there. And that's why the Suicide Squad has to go get him. Now, in this one, okay, this is actually the New Gods. This is Orion. They're on New Genesis. He's talking to Light Ray, and they're figuring out how they're going to help. They come in kind of late in the thing. And so Highfather's telling this Highfather, he's telling them what they got to do and that they've got to save the DC Earth. Because if they don't, the stuff's going to come back to them. And Galactus will eat their too. So we've got to send help. And so Orion and Light Ray are going to go to Earth to help. And they do fight. So, yeah, they're on New Genesis, and that's Highfather. So this thing has both Highfather and Darkseid. And Odin in it. It's not in the same story. And so, in this same New Genesis story, Metron appears. And he appears on his chair. He's got the Mobius chair. And that's Orion and Light Ray around. And he says, there's trouble, we've got to go. We've got to go help him. And he says, it's Metron. And so Metron says, your father is on. And he says, and he talks about how Galactus is trying to take over the DC Earth. And so that gets them involved. And so we're going to just finish that one. Yeah. And this one is where Metron's explaining to Ryan what's going on. And so Light Ray explains it's more to Orion and how they got to help. And so explains, that's Barda is helping explain if Darkseid wins, our Earths are next. So that's why they go. We're going to just be filling that in more and more next. Okay, there's actually stuff to look at. This is an interesting thing to be drawing a little bit more. The heroes were fighting, and there were some injuries because both Martian Manhunter and Guy Gardner got hurt. So thankfully they brought back him. And what Hank Pym has is a emergency kit. He unshrinks it, and so they put it on. And also, Thor can do some healing too, a little bit. And so they try to make Martian Manhunter better. They're going to take him away. And the next part is where the Justice League is getting back together. Because all the normal Justice League are away. Okay. And so, in this one, there's Batman and Hawkman and Black Lightning and Black Canary and Green Arrow. And the other one, Flash's fight. needs a little bit more work because it's just pencils. Later in the story, Thor and the New Warriors are in New York and they're getting all the heroes together. This is really the last one. Heroes are getting together. Sif's there, and there's Thor, and the New Warriors are following him. There's Fandral, and there's Volstagg, and they're walking, and there's Fandral gets a line, says, "Oh, we've got to go to the Avengers Mansion." They do. That's the Avengers Mansion from the early 90s when they rebuilt it after accident, and then after Hydro Base. That's that scene. This is another earlier story where Kanto has tried to take over Russia, and then the Titans have to fight him. No more blank pages. Yeah. Just in an earlier, later part of this thing, the Justice League is fighting Rhino, and so Metamorpho is fighting Rhino. So what he does is, because Rhino's so big, he decides he's going to turn into a tar pit. So he goes, he turns into a tar pit, and then Rhino gets stuck. Hey, what you gonna do? Cut me out. He can't. And so right then all the rest of the Justice League come in. That's Elongated Man and Power Girl, and he's still stuck. And they come in to fight the other bad guys. In another part of the story, I spent a lot of time in the backgrounds for this one. These superheroes are fighting bad guys in the East Wing of the National Gallery of Art. That's Hawkman, he's firing. And the Ghost from Charlton, but now with DC, is in theirs too. And then they're firing, and Black Canary was helping, and the Ghost is there being scary. At the end, they capture everybody but Black Canary, and then the story continues. This is when they get sneak attacked by the bad guys, and so is the Justice League versus all the parademons in their commander, and the parademons just jump them, and they fight, but Iron Man blasts a lot of them with his wide-angle blast. Kind of at the same time, but those are spoilers, but it's not really, because it's just a moment. This is Monica Rambeau in her Captain Marvel costume. She's flying to come because Wolverine went off to fight somebody. She's got to check him out. And there's just been a big explosion, and she thinks Wolverine is dead, but he's not. He's just burnt up because you know he's going to get better. There's a whole comic about him getting better. Now, I think we'll show this is the last thing. So, near the climax, all these heroes are together because they're fighting the last fight versus Darkseid. So Superman calls him out, and these are all the guys that need. It's Iron Man and Vision, and Starman, and Scarlet Witch, and Iceman, and Cyclops, and Green Lantern, Alan Scott, Starfire, and Wolverine, his updated costume, Dr. Fate, and Green Arrow, and Black, and Hawkeye, and Deathstroke is also helping. Mr. Fantastic's there. He's like, okay, just hold it together, thing. Stay with me, because Darkseid blew a hole in him, but they're all going to be better. Okay. All right, thanks, everybody. Have a good night. Bye-bye.